file. Okay, let us try this. Okay, this is what it is throwing an issue.
There you wrote like a different name of the file now.
It is same, right? It couldn't able to pass this up. Did we added? Yeah. So I'll check on this, guys. I mean, maybe at least like through chat, I'm going to share the message. Mostly it should be done, but something is missing. Let me try a one
So
final way.
actually, what is the necessity to render the React component to server side? What advantages we have achieved?
What advantages we have? Maximum we
Real
have
time scenario.
disadvantages only. That's what I'm saying. Maximum disadvantages only. But the one simple advantage what we'll be having is, for example, using server side. If you remember, like we have discussed about express views also, right? Server side rendering. If you go into your server side, there is something called as views folder where you will be adding some JSON files, okay, which is going to be the server side rendering. But maximum people don't use it. What actually that guy will do is the server guy will give you the base HTML on load of page itself instead of client client side rendering. We are doing, I mean, instead of client side uh, rendering the base structure, so that on the top we inject what components need to be added. So why actually will go now when I'm hitting this guy, complete HTML, the base structure of that HTML itself is directly coming from the server. Otherwise, you need to create a .html file. You need to include the react.js. You need to start adding all of those, right? But that base structure is actually coming from the from the server. That is why we go with the server side rendering. But adding the complete web page from the server side rendering is completely not at all advisable. I mean, it's completely degrading the performance. So only to create the base structure of the HTML and all that we will be having that, so that we won't be having the .html file, etc. and all. That is the only reason we go. And as I said, right, I mean, this is not at all successful. Even when you go to the real time, people will never ask you to create a server side React component. As it is supporting, we are just having a look on that. But in general, we won't. Did that answer your question? Yes, no?
Like sir, previously,
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? Someone
Sir,
put a message.
UI class, already we are using HTML, right?
One second, I got a question from someone. Create babel.rc present that we are already doing, right? We have already done that installation. We have already added that require. That require, if you see, okay, who put that message? There is one window. Okay, Avinash. So, I mean, why do we go with the Babel RC? Instead, I could able to go for this guy, right? I have already, okay, this guy will come. So, Avinash, we have indirectly done that instead of going for creating a separate so and so, right? So that we have already done. File extension for so and so. Let us change this later. Let's go with Gmail. Entity speak by default, not only under so and so. Okay, let me do this. Okay, first thing, export app, we have already done. Now, app import, we have already done. Okay, this thing we have already done, but yeah, just to replace, we'll go for this. Okay, and this guy will be app.jsx. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we have done this package.json. Under this, you're giving this Babel node server. Your package, you can go with Babel node server. Okay. And now we have added it Babel config.json. Okay. It's still throwing issue, right? How you're saying? Is it issue with my system? Okay. I have done the same, right? Export default and app.jsx.
I have sent my package.json file. Like you will do once again installation.
Package.json installation is fine. Only thing is so and so, right? That's it.
So you remove that type equal to module in package.json, sir.
I added. You want me to remove?
Uh-huh. And so dev dependencies, you have to install Babel core, Babel.
Dev dependencies, either you add it or don't add it, doesn't work. I mean, it works the fine because like if I have the node modules installed in my system, they will be working fine. I'll remove this package log.json and let's say npm install. Okay, I'll say npm and did that work in your machine?
Yes, it did work.
Okay, it says that node module is not found. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll copy this dev dependencies. Just give me a minute, guys. Hmm. Oh my God. Okay, so now if which port it is running? 3000. Cool. Okay, so these are the dev dependencies. So instead of directly running this, we are running
Your screen is not visible. Not audible.
Okay, am I audible back now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, network got disconnected. I tried with a different network. Okay, so this is how the steps, guys. So let's put the steps also. Easy for us. Steps to run to run React components from server side. Okay, so what is the very first step here? First of all, we have to create a folder. Okay, server folder. Under that, you will be having the app.jsx. For now, I'm defaultly taking app.jsx. You can create any number of components the way you wanted. And you will be having server.js file, and you will be having package.json file. Okay. Now, what are the under your app.jsx, your React component will come into the picture. Under your package.json, what are the changes we are going to do is under your scripts, we need to add this. This is mandate. We are running our under your scripts. So this has to be injected for sure. And on the top, installation, I think I'll even add these guys also, which is easy. And React DOM server. Okay, and app dot send the piece of HTML code. Okay, so these are the main steps what we need to follow in order to make a component to be rendered from the server side. As I said, right, it is a heavy call. The reason is when you go into this guy, when you see the source code of this, when you see the source code of this guy, what actually you are receiving from the server is not the component, but the complete HTML. I mean, the component got rendered. Those all things will be done at the server side itself. I mean, the parsing of that component and all. And one more thing, that rebinding, those stuff cannot be done if it is a server side, because for us, it is not at all a component. For example, I give a data, and if it is changing, binding concept, those all things not going to happen. It's only the default template. The initial component rendering can only be done from the server side. Okay. So as I said to you, this is just an informative is getting loaded from the server side. In general, if at all I have to load a page from the server, what we have to do? We need to create a index.html, and that will be kept under your public folder. Now that file you are going to ask, under that index.html, you will be having all the JS files and all. That is the one who is going to render the page for you. Am I right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, but now I don't want to create this index.html. I will ask the server file itself. I mean the web server, say something called a server slash get data. This is the URL what I'm saying. Now this guy in return will give you a HTML content, not a file. Now this content will be holding all the JS file and all. Now this service is the one who will be responsible for loading the for loading your HTML content. That is one benefit you see. Second benefit is, for example, if it is a HTML file, what you will be doing? Localhost colon 8081 slash abc slash index.html, then the page will be running. But here, if I have this guy as a service 8081 slash abc slash get details. So the path is not exposing the file what you want to render on the page. So user is not getting an exposure. Here, if it is getting rendering as a HTML, right? Now, but here if you see in the URL, there is no scope. It is saying that index.html, abc.html and all. So this is also one of the advantage you have when you go with the server side components. Again, if you ask me disadvantages, hell lot of there. But if you ask me advantages, this is what we have. Server by default rendering the base structure for you. That's it. Uh, any other questions? Okay. So guys, with this, the only thing is Vercel, right? How you are going to deploy the server. So I still didn't get some time. Maybe like this weekend, I'll try to find out. At least I will share the video with you. But again, it is nothing like, I mean, it will be self-served. I mean, you don't need to have me to explain that. It's simple. Whatever the React component we have created, for example, app client, this is a complete application what we created. You simply need to do npm run build, which we have already seen. Once we do this npm run build, it is going to create a dist file for us. Okay, once we do this npm run build, it is going to create a dist file. Some errors are there because of this TypeScript types and all. Once we, or else, let's go into this JavaScript file what we have created earlier. It was the React Web App. Yeah, if you see here, once you do npm run build, this is the dist folder you'll be getting. We just need to copy this content, take to any of the web server, paste it, and it should be able to go. If you remember, we have even created this. Or else, yeah, this web server, oh, not this guy. If you go to our web server, go to your public folder, you just keep it over here. Your server will be running. The same thing is going to work even in any of the deployment server. Now, what vessel, if you go with this vessel, right? So what actually this guy is going to help you is you just need to sign up and he will help you. Whatever the project you have in your GitHub, it will automatically build it and it will take into one of the deployment server. That's it. Okay, it has just some two, three, four steps here. Just configuring the where all you're going to config under the GitHub, right? You need to configure one path, and based on that, you could able to access it. I will give you the complete steps for that. If it is still an issue, you can always connect to me, and I will share the details. Okay. Other than
Sir,
that,
whenever we push the code, no, immediately it will deploy like Kubernetes or like that.
you need
In
to
Vercel,
trigger for that. If you say the concept of boss, whenever I am going to push any changes, then it has to fire it. Then you need to write the script for that. Otherwise, no, no. In fact, like when you as you are doing npm run build, right? Yes, it automatically does that. Whenever you push any of the changes on the Git repository, what you give it as a path, it will automatically trigger that, and it will be deploying the changes for you.
so for backend, however, we are using CI/CD pipeline like that Vercel front end, sir.
I didn't get you, ma'am. Could you repeat again?
Jenkins we are using for the backend, right? So Vercel is like it is for the
Vercel, right? I
front
mean,
end.
in general, we will be using just for static pages in the online also. But I mean, Vercel is not the one which will be real time using in your what do you say, in your organization. If you go to organization, either it is server side or it is one second. Uh, well, just give me a second, guys. online, you want to create a portfolio, you want to create a static page, that is what you can go. But when you go to the real time, right, irrelevant of whether it is server side or a React application, everything will go with Jenkins only. Okay, whenever you build the code into the Git, automatical Jenkins builds will be triggered. And from the Jenkins build, you can manually trigger that SIT environment, LUT environment. So those all things will be done irrelevant of whether it is server side or the client side. Okay. So the final two questions from Ajitesh. What is component decomposition? What is the use history hook? We discussed it, right? I mean, component decomposition. I think like Swati or someone who asked this question. Component decomposition is it is not a technical implementation, but it's a concept what we actually follow. In React, it strictly follows that component decomposition feature, which means that don't keep everything into one single component. Instead of that, you divide that, you decouple that into multiple individual micro components, then you merge all those to form a single component. That we call it as a component decomposition. And when you say use history, right? The reason why we didn't discuss about the use history hook is it is being supported until only routing version 5. We were using the routing version 6. Actually, right, whatever we are using like use navigation, which is used to programmatically navigate to any of the path, the same got replaced. Earlier we used to use history, but now in the latest version we were using the use navigator. Clear, Ajitesh? Okay, so as I said, right, at the group what we have in our Telegram, that will be always there. And I will be sharing the steps like for Vercel, like how you actually take it. As again, I said, right, it's a very simple one which will be going. And yeah, thanks for all of you for attending all these classes. Hope these classes made help to you guys. I was like, you can genuinely give the feedback. Like, I mean, from the day one when you join these classes to the day end. So do you guys really think that it helped you? Do you really think that from the